Hello, I'm Steve Bellingham. I'm working with an organisation called Happy Science. It's an international organisation. We're aiming to spread a teaching of spiritual truth around the world, aiming to change the world by teaching people about the true values of this earth. The world's become very materialistic in many ways, so we believe that through the teaching of the truth about where we come from, where we go to, what's the meaning and the purpose of our life, the people can get a real true meaning and actually make the most of their lives. So very essentially, or very basically, Happy Science teaches that the spirit world's the real world. We are human beings, we have a physical body, but we also have a soul. The core of the soul is our mind, which is our thoughts. So the way we think is super important in our life, and that when we leave this world and we go back to the next world, the place we go to is completely dependent on the state of our minds or the type of thoughts we had. So simply put, we will be with like-minded people. So whatever type of mind I create now, if I have a mind full of love and goodness, when I leave this world, I go back home, the people around me will be full of love and goodness as well. If I create a mind of greed or anger or something like that, the people around me would be like that, and of course we don't want that. So by creating a beautiful mind in this world, of course we experience happiness now, but not only that, we can take that happiness with us when we go back to the other world. So yeah, I'm very blessed that these teachings come from a master, Ryuho Okawa, a Japanese man, who published over 3,200 books over a period of 36 years. So it's quite phenomenal to be able to publish so many books, and he could do that because he attained enlightenment when he was 24 years old, and his whole mission was just to try to spread this truth to the world. Hello everybody, thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time out and coming to my talk today. This is my favorite topic, the truth about life after death. There's nothing more significant in our life than knowing about the truth about life and death, what happens when we die, what is the meaning of my life. Without this idea or knowledge of the truth, how can we really live our lives in a meaningful way? For me, I was about 31 years old, and I spent a couple of years traveling around the world, and I got home and I started selling computers again. And after 1 year of selling computers again, I thought, wow, I'm probably going to live till I'm 90, so I've got another 60 years of just living and working hard and really not enjoying my life. 60 years of this, just keeping myself alive so I can die. I thought, it seems so meaningless. It made more sense just to die now and not have to go through all those troubles and suffering and difficulties. So I went seeking the truth, and I was fortunate enough that somebody had donated a book to the Auckland Public Library. And so in 1994, I actually went to a psychic astrologer first of all, and as I said, I was selling computers. I'd always been selling things. He said, what do you do? He said, you're a salesman. Or you're going to go from selling the tangible to selling the intangible. You're going to find a brand new movement. It's all about happiness. He said, they're working to change the critical mass of the world, to change the world. I thought, wow, this sounds great. So after seeing the psychic, I went about 2 weeks later, I went to the Auckland Public Library, and I was looking on the shelves, and I saw this book, and suddenly I felt in my mind, that looks interesting. And I took a book off the shelf, and it was called The Laws of the Sun. And I started reading it. And I thought, wow, this just makes so much sense. It's quite unbelievable, but it's quite incredible. And the book itself was from an organization called Happy Science. And the Happy Science had been created by a man here called Master Ryuho Okawa. And he had attained enlightenment when he was 24 years old. And he had a spiritual awakening on March 23rd, 1981. He had graduated in law in Tokyo University, and he was about to start his job about a month later in an international trading company. And he was at home on this day, and he thought, somebody wants to communicate with me. So he sat down with a pen and paper, and his hand started writing in Japanese, iterase, 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 automatically, which means good news, good news, good news. Well, this was the starting point, because from this day forward, every single day, he started to communicate with the spirit world. Like I said, he was only 24, and he decided he was too young to start trying to teach what he was discovering. So he kept working in the world of international trading company. Actually, for a time, he was working in the Twin Towers in America. And he spent 6 years working in this very busy environment in international finance by day and by night, studying the spirit world. And so it was quite a difference in life and the two different experiences. But just before his 30th birthday, he quit his job and he started Happy Science. And he spent about a month in meditation. And then he wrote 3 books. The very first book was The Laws of the Sun, which is, as I said, the book I found in the Auckland Library. I'm just going to move this a little bit. The Auckland Library. And that was the first book that he wrote. And so the next book he wrote was The Golden Laws. And then the third book he wrote was The Laws of Eternity. So he wrote these 3 books over a 6-week period, when he was 30 years old and said, "These 3 books will be the core of my teaching." Now, here's something quite phenomenal. He actually passed away a couple of years ago. He was 66 years old, but he wrote books for a period of 36 years. In that time, he wrote, wait for this, a total number of just over 3,200 books. Can you imagine? 3,200 books in 36 years. If you do the maths, that's about 90 books a year. That's about 2 books a week. And as well as the books, he gave about 3,500 lectures, created 28 movies from his books, created Happy Science University and 2 schools, created Happiness Realization Party, which is a political party because he didn't like the world politics. He wanted to show what is ideal politics. Spread Happy Science to over 170 countries. And in Japan now there's about 800 temples have been built. Now we have a beautiful temple here in Lane Cove, pardon me, which you're welcome to visit any time. And we have a few temples, places in Brazil, but other places around the world. Anyway, but the essence of what he was talking about that I want to talk about today is his exploration of the spirit world. You know, I don't have the experience of seeing the spirit world. Maybe the closest I've seen is when I was younger, when I used to be walking home from school. Sometimes I'd see this shimmering here, but as soon as I looked, it would go away. And be walking along, see a shimmering, and as soon as I looked, it would go away. That might be the closest I've come to actually seeing spirit. But for him to be able to communicate clearly with the spirit, for him it was like talking on the telephone to spirits. He wrote many books, about 600 or 700 spiritual messages from various people, from Princess Di to Michael Jackson to Jesus, Moses, Confucius, so many people. Because he wants the world to awaken. We're at Awaken today, right? He wants the world to awaken to the truth that the other world really does exist. Once people know the world exists, then they actually change their attitude towards this life. And I'll talk a little bit about that as I go along. But the spirit world that he taught us about, he made very clear and a logical teaching about how it exists and our relationship to it. Here's a map that Happy Science put together based on his teachings of the spirit world. It's a map of the spirit world. You won't get this on Google Maps, you know, you have to come to Happy Science for that. But basically, and I'll explain a little bit more about these different dimensions that are expressed here as we go along. But the essence of it is that we have a body. We also have a soul. But the core of our soul is our mind. Our thoughts are us. Your thinking is you. When you think, that's you. If you take away your body and you're just left with your soul, you're still thinking. You don't stop thinking because your body's dead. It's not your brain that thinks. The brain is like a computer. Say, if you think of a computer, the computer without software in it is dumb. It cannot do anything. It's just a computer. You have to put the software in. When you put the software in, the computer can suddenly do something. And actually, you can actually take that, if the computer breaks down, you can take that software out. You can put it into another computer. And now the computer can think the same as what their software was. So it's a little bit like that relationship between a computer and the software. Our soul is like the software. And as we undergo many, many lives, our software is always upgrading. Upgrading means attaining enlightenment, a deeper enlightenment, gaining wisdom. And that's really the goal of our lives, is to continue the progress of the soul. Because the soul feels happy. I just want to fix this. There's a little bit of a sound there. Our soul feels most happy as it feels itself progressing. So what is progress? Progress really is the evolution of the love, our development of love. We hear of great people in the past like Jesus. Jesus was love itself. Buddha taught about love and also wisdom. But it's about our capacity to love. And I'll talk briefly a little about what that teaching, how it changed my life as we get towards the end here. But one of the things that Master Okawa explained was that when we leave this world, depending on the type of mind that we have created, it makes absolute difference to where we end up in the next world. And that's why it's really important that people in this world know the truth about the other world, that it really does exist. So as I said, we have a body, we have a soul, and the core of a soul is our mind. When we leave this world, we go back to a place where like attracts like wavelengths attract. So whatever state of mind you've created, you're going to be with similar-minded people. If you have a mind full of love and compassion and kindness and good thoughts towards other people, everybody around you is going to be a kind, lovely person. That's heaven. If a person creates a mind in this world full of greed, all around them will just be greedy people. If they create a mind full of anger, if that's the main element of their mind is anger, everybody around them is angry. Now that might sound, that's horrible, but actually what happens is really, you can call that a hell realm, but hell is a hospital for lost or souls that have lost their way. Because if you're in a realm where everybody's angry and you have the angry mind yourself, you may not have reflected on yourself while you're living on this earth. So you live that way thinking, well, that's just the way I am. It's not my fault. You made me angry. But in actual fact, we're each responsible for our own mind. And if we end up in a realm like that and everybody's the same, eventually they're like a mirror. And we go, oh, these people are angry all the time. I don't like these angry people. And they go, oh my gosh, I'm like that too. I don't want to be like that. So because, like I said, like attracts like, if a person was angry and they realized, oh, I don't want to be angry anymore, they would now be in a realm of people who are angry that didn't want to be angry, right? So immediately the realm would change. So this is how our soul will be exactly fitting our state of mind. So there's the good people's realm. There's the angels' realm. If you have a mind of, and I'll talk a little bit more about the dimensions in a second, because these different dimensions, once we know the conditions that exist or the type of mindset that's there, it can be our goal to think about what sort of mindset am I in? Where would I likely return to in the spirit world? And then we can see our goal, how to move up further. I want to show you a short excerpt it's one of the movies from Happy Science. It's called Laws of Eternity, out of the book The Laws of Eternity. And there's something called the River Styx. I don't know if you've ever heard of the River Styx before. Many people, have heard of the River Styx. But it's like the bridge or the crossover of our consciousness between this world and the other world. And when you watch it, I want you to just notice one thing. There's some silver cords attached to people's head. Every one of us have a silver cord that's attached to our top of our head, and that's our soul in our body is attached by the silver cord. Now, when we sleep, our soul actually returns back to the spirit world to bask in the spiritual light and spiritual sun. This is the funny thing. Sometimes people feel like, oh, I've lost my mother or my father, my loved one. It's going to be, I may never see them again. Actually, often at night when people sleep, they go back to the spirit world and they'll see their loved ones. But we come back to our body. When we wake up, we forget about all of that. So if we really knew the truth, we wouldn't worry about the fact so much that people we love have passed away. But what I notice also on the River Styx, there's the cord, the silver cord. Once the silver cord is cut, there's no longer the soul cannot come back to the body. So that's the true moment of death, right? So it normally takes about 24 hours after a person's died for the silver cord to be cut, and then the soul cannot come back. Some people have near-death experiences where they left their body and they see things and they come back. But they were able to come back because their soul, this silver cord, had not actually been cut. The other thing to notice about this crossing the River Styx is you'll notice a bridge, you'll notice a boat, you'll notice some people walking across the water. You'll see some people actually struggling to get through the water, and there's also one person who has some attachments who struggles. So I'll just show this first and then talk a little bit more about that. This lasts about 3 minutes.
So is this the River Styx?
Help! Oh, look! Help me!
Those were his attachments in life, the things he didn't want to let go. When you are crossing this river, you must leave behind all your mortal attachments.
What are those strings?
They are silver cords. They connect the physical body and the soul. Usually, approximately 24 hours after the heart stops, these cords are cut off. That's when humans really die.
It's so beautiful.
I wonder where it goes.
Those who've crossed the River Styx walk through this long path, through the flower bed, and finally reach this place.
Is this a movie theater? I wonder what it's showing.
It's showing a drama called life. His life from birth to death will be shown on this screen.
Who are they?
They're his deceased friends and relatives. Revealed on screen are not just what he did, but also what he thought of during his mortal life.
You mean even what he thought of?
Childhood, elementary school, middle school, high school, getting a job, getting married, changing jobs, divorce, bankruptcy.
You should have been more responsible.
It's all your fault!
Whatever he went through, and whatever thoughts he had on those occasions,
He has passed away.
they are all revealed here. After this, he understands and is willing to go to his destination.
Destination?
More than half of the people these days go to a place that is called hell.
More than half? Really?
A lot of people don't believe in the spirit world anymore. They think there's nothing after death and thus live freely. But what awaits them here is a harsh reality. Of course, some of them receive a hail of applause. These people are allowed to go to heaven according to the state of their minds.
Heaven? That sounds good.
Heaven, that sounds good. So, this is just a simple truth, right? I mean, if we know this truth, we're careful about what sort of minds we create in this world. And you think, well, why do people create a wrong state of mind? It's because since we're born, from the moment we're born, we create an ego based on this physical body. We feel this is me. And the bottom stage, you'll notice here, I've put up this, once again, the dimensions of the spirit world. So before I showed the map of the spirit world, this is another depiction of that. But you'll see here there's the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth dimension. Well, the ninth dimension is the ultimate realm of human consciousness. Actually, it goes way beyond here. 10th is a planetary consciousness. The 11th is a star. 12th is a galaxy. 13th is a universe. The primordial God of the universe is a 20-plus dimensional. But, you know, we're not going to talk about that today. We're just talking about here this realm of human consciousness. But this three-dimensional world, the beauty about this three-dimensional world is that all the souls from these different dimensions, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, come here to train. Because when we're in the other world, as I said before, like attracts like. Once we're with like-minded people for a long period of time, we start to get bored. Sure, you know, people might think, oh, this is my last life, or I'd never want to come back here. This world's so tough, I wouldn't want to come back here again. But in actual fact, after, Master Okawa said, on average, we'll spend 400 or 500 years back in our home in the spirit world. That's our home. That's where we spend most of our time. And imagine, you don't need money, you don't need a job. Every day it's a beautiful day. You're basking in the light. You don't have to do anything. You do whatever you want. You're with people you like. Oh, what a wonderful world. But after 400 or 500 years, our souls, we start to feel like, oh, I feel like another challenge. I need something. I'm stagnating. And since we feel happy as our soul progresses, if we start to feel lack of progress, we start to feel a little unhappy. So we choose a life. Now, we've got connections. I see families here, right? We have connections with our families and with our friends and many people. We have about 30 or 40 people in our life that are soulmates. So from the heavenly world, we would say to our parents, would you please be my parent? Our parents say, yes, let's create an ideal family together. Of course, it doesn't always work out. It's not that easy. But we have the intention to create an ideal family. Now, I remember when I was younger, sometimes when I have problems, I blame my parents. You know, well, you had me. You know, it's your problem, right? As if they dragged me into this world, and it's their fault that I'm here, and the problems I have is because they created me here. But once I know the truth that actually I made a pledge from heaven, please, can I be born into this family? And Master Okawa said actually at about the 10th week of pregnancy, and it's usually around about the time when sometimes a lady will start to experience morning sickness, about the 10th week of pregnancy, the soul from heaven, he said it's a very scary moment. It's like jumping off a cliff. The soul leaves the heavenly world and enters into the womb of the lady, of the pregnant lady, at about 10 weeks. So yeah, sometimes, especially if there's a difference between the level of the soul, then there can be, that can create the morning sickness. But because we experience the same similar-minded people in the spirit world, being with similar-minded people after a period of time is that what creates the feeling of stagnation. But by coming here, imagine, all these different souls. I mean, that's why when you look around the world, how many different types of people are. Some you can really revere and think, gosh, that person is just so amazing. But other people you think, how can they be like that? How can you think like that? Well, the reason for it is because we are deliberately going through that. As I got here, this world is a training ground for souls. That's what this whole world is created for. It's a place where souls to leave the real world, the true world, the spirit world, to come here to train. So when we see that this is training, when somebody goes to a gym and they lift weights, those weights are heavy and the person suffers. But why do they do it? Because they know it's good for their body. They know that as they make their body strong and healthy, it makes them feel better and happier. Same for the soul. Now, if we can have this perspective to our life, that this world's training ground for my soul, problems that come to me are things that I'm going to get wisdom from. They're teaching me something. Then we can change our perspective. Instead of trying to avoid problems, we think, okay, I can do it. I can work this out. I know there's some lesson here for me to learn from. And actually, once I've learned it, my suffering's going to go away. Actually, even as kids, you think when you went to primary school at 5 years old, the times table was very hard to learn, right? But then once you got it, you think, yeah, got it. And then they give you division. Oh my gosh, you're back to suffering again, right? I can't work that out. And then as you get older, you finally think you've got the math sorted, and then they teach you algebra. And you think, oh no, I'm never going to get that. So, but then you get it, and suddenly you feel, oh, I can do that. It's easy, and now I feel so good. I've grown. Yeah. So our life is the same. So I want to give so based on this idea, I'll just recap this. Basically, simply that we're spiritual beings with a physical body. We've come here to train our soul in this world. Our soul's a bit like an aqualung. To be able to dive into the ocean, you need to put on the aqualung because it's not a natural state of a body to be able to breathe underwater. So to come into this world, we need this three-dimensional body, this physical body that we're in. Knowing this and believing this deeply, this will change the world. We're at awaken, right? Awaken means waking up the world to this truth. Because this truth alone, this very simple truth alone, will change the world. First of all, racism goes away. How can there be racism when I know I'm a soul in a body, and my body could be black, it could be white, maybe later on when aliens come, I could be green. But, the body is just my vehicle. To judge somebody by their body would be so wrong once we know the truth of the soul. So all the issues actually go away. Even, and I won't cover this, but even the transgender issues go away. Because we are male or female souls when we are created. But sometimes, through our wish to experience different things, if I'm a male soul and I'm born again and again and again and again into a male body, I start to not understand ladies or women anymore. So a male soul can sometimes choose to be born in a female body because it wants to experience being a lady. It wants to know what it feels like to be a woman, and the opposite. So from a happy science perspective, we would suggest that I think this world's only going to be 80, 90 years, 70, 80, 90 years I'm going to be living in this body. If I am a man, I'm in a woman's body, that's true. Yes, I am a man, I'm a female soul, I'm in a woman's body, but my mission in this life is understand woman. I'm going to try to be the best woman I can be. And sure, I might be attracted to the same sex, but that's natural because my soul is actually the opposite. So there's nothing wrong with being gay, that's fine. But don't try and change your sex, I would suggest. That creates more suffering than is necessary. Yeah. So based on this, I'd like to just give a teaching from Happy Science that Master teaches how we can attain the best out of our life. How can we create the most beautiful mind to elevate ourselves? Ultimately, we all want to become angels. To be an angel means that we live our life not thinking of ourselves anymore. The more we believe this truth that I'm a spiritual being in this body's not really me, the problems are not really, my problems. There's something for me to learn from. So the more we can dedicate our life to bringing the happiness to other people and not thinking about bringing happiness to ourselves, two things happen. We become happier. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Actually, the less we think of our own happiness and the more we think of the happiness of others, the happier we become. The most happy people in the world are those that think about their own happiness the least and think about bringing the happiness to the most to the other people. And the other thing that happens is that we don't see problems as problems anymore. They all become opportunities. So I just want to show the Happy Science teaching that teaches people how to get the most and elevate their mind. So the first thing, this is based on exploration of the right mind and the principles of happiness. Now, right mind, what is right mind? Because right means there's right and wrong. What is right? Right mind is the mind of God or Buddha. Every one of us has in our very heart the same nature as God. We are trying to become like God. God created a little piece of himself out there so many times in the universe. It's like planting a seed and say, become like me. So you imagine the oak tree, this huge great oak tree that drops the acorn, right? The acorn, it doesn't even look like an oak tree. It lands in the ground, in the dirt, but it has an urge to grow. What does it want to grow? It wants to grow to become like the great oak tree. And it never stops growing. And there must be a lot of suffering and difficulty for it to put its roots out and spread its trees, its branches and its leaves. So it makes a lot of effort to grow, but it's just naturally doing it. And it doesn't turn into anything else. It doesn't become a rose. It stays as being the oak tree. And it tries to become like the great oak tree. Well, we are the same. We are children of God. We have this divine nature at our heart. And each one of us wants to become like God. What is God? God is love. So we have, in the first stage of this, so exploration of the right mind is discovering this mind within each one of us, finding that divine nature. See, we've got our false self, which is created by our ego, which is created by our instinctual love, which is necessary too. The instinctual love allows us to survive. That says, I've got to look after me, I have to survive. So that we naturally have from a very young age, a baby at 2 months old is at 3 a.m. is screaming out, and the parents have to get up and go and look after the baby. But the baby's just thinking of itself. And this is natural. All through our younger years, we're just thinking about our own survival. But we have to, at some stage, get past that way of thinking and give up the me-orientated thinking into the I want to think of other people thinking. Master Okawa said there's still many adults in the world that are still at the baby stage where they think of me, rather than the what can I do for others thinking. So the exploration of the right mind means looking deep within and finding that true self. Now we need to do meditation really to do that. We need to quieten our mind that's so busy. And when we go deep within, we find something very warm and so full of love and so full of light and so full of positivity inside of us. And once we experience that, we just want to live in that. Our thoughts of worry about ourselves is what take us away from that. But when we have that calm mind, what we find is every one of us has this beautiful, shining, bright mind inside. It's a little bit about becoming egoless. It's about finding that and wanting to live with it and not letting anything obstruct it. So to do that, we practice the principles of happiness, and there's 4 of them. The first one is love. In the book, The Laws of the Sun, this is really a phrase that changed my life. There was a phrase in chapter 3 that said, the essence of love is giving. If you're suffering, it means you're taking love. And at the time, I was in love with somebody, and she'd left me, and I was suffering. But I loved her, and she had 2 children that I wanted to look after. And even the kids said, I want you to be my dad. And she had said to me, I'm going to marry you one day. And like I said, I was 31 years old. This is just before I found the Laws of the Sun. And I was looking for direction, and I thought I'd found my direction. I was going to marry her, bring up the kids, treat her like a princess, get a nice house, make her so happy. And then she left. So I was suffering, and I was trying to practice meditation. And every time I'm trying to get a quiet mind, I keep thinking of her all the time. I couldn't get her out of my mind. And at the same time, this is why life brings the lesson to us. When we're suffering, if we look, the lesson will always come to us if we're prepared to accept it. And that's when I saw this book, The Laws of the Sun. He said, the essence of love is giving. If you're suffering, it means you're taking love. I thought, how am I taking love? I'm not taking love. I'm going to give her everything. I'm going to treat her like a princess. So after about 2 weeks of this, I got sick of suffering so deeply, and I thought, I'm going to look for the pin. Where's it really hurting? And I found one phrase in my mind, and it was, I just want us to be together. That was my pain. I want us to be together. Oh, want. I want us to be together. Want's a taking word. And I can still remember this moment very clearly in my life. I was about 32 years old. I'm 63 now. And so it was around about 31 years ago. And I remember it was a rebellious moment. I thought, that's it. I don't care anymore. I don't care what, I'm not going to say her name. I don't want to embarrass her. I don't care what she thinks. I'm going to love her anyway. And I had this moment where I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. But I felt an incredible feeling of love burst from my heart. And I thought, I do love her. I just love her. It doesn't matter where she is, what she's doing, who she's with. The feeling of loving her is what feels so great. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the answer and the secret to happiness. When we love people but we don't need anything back, we experience the love of the universe coming through us to others, and we just feel happy. As soon as we need something back, we start to suffer. Oh, I said this and you said that and you treated me like this. I did this for you, but you didn't do this. It's all judgmental. It's all conditional love. But in actual fact, the universe is full of this energy called love. And as children of God, we're made in the same image and likeness of God, which is like a sun, which is just shining. And that's all we want to do. We just want to shine. When we don't shine, we've actually created clouds around this beautiful sun through our ways of thinking. So our thoughts create like a cloud, and we stop feeling the light and we stop giving the light. When we do meditation, we find these thoughts, we get rid of them. That's when we feel it again. So this essence of love is giving. If you're suffering, it means you're taking love, was the greatest lesson in my life. And now, actually, it doesn't matter who it is. We can feel love for everybody. I see that the 8 billion people in the world are an opportunity to feel love for people. When you go to buy your milk in the morning, just feel so much gratitude and love for the person that happens to be standing behind the counter that's got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to give me my milk. Thank you so much. Everyone we meet, we can actually feel love for them. And we always feel happy because love is flowing through the universe to us. Yeah. The second one is wisdom. If we don't know the truth, just what we've been talking about today, the most important wisdom is the truth, the knowledge of the truth that the spirit world exists. This is a training ground for my soul. I'm going to return back there. All I'm going to take with me is my mind. I have to create a beautiful mind. That's all my whole job is. My whole life, mission of life is to create a beautiful mind. Nothing else matters. Doesn't matter my job, doesn't matter anything else. In my job, I can give love, you see. Actually, work is an opportunity to give love. Sure, we're lucky we get paid from it too. We need that in this world, of course. But when we do what we really love and we do something that brings happiness to others, it brings us joy in our work. So our work becomes love. And that's also a way to improve our mind, of course. The third one is self-reflection. Unless we spend time to sit down and quieten our mind and think about, what did I say today? What did I do today? How did my life affect others? Did I say anything bad? Did I hurt anybody's feelings? Oh, I did. I should apologize tomorrow. So this way we can always make sure each day that we're actually thinking about how we're living and ensure that we can make the corrections and put our lives in the right way. And the last one is progress. Progress means, of course, I'm going to progress myself if I'm giving more love and self-reflecting and attaining more wisdom. But also really progress means doing something to benefit the society. Benefit your family, benefit the people around you. Try to be a person who somehow benefits the society as much as possible. See, previously when I showed those the different dimensions, by the time the souls reach the 7th dimension, they become the angels. Well, their whole lives is living to benefit other people. By the time they become the 8th dimensional being, they're people like Gandhi or Martin Luther King or Edison, Nelson Mandela. These are great beings who from the heavenly world see the earth. They see things that aren't right. Our mission is to create this progress. Our mission is to create an ideal world. That's our goal as human beings. Imagine that. We've been given this beautiful goal by God to say, go to earth, improve yourself, develop yourself, polish your soul, polish your mind. But while you're doing it, create an ideal world. So the two go hand in hand. Developing myself and developing the world. These are the two that fit together. Now imagine if humankind, just what I've spoken about today, this was a basis of our thinking. From the time kids are 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, they're taught that you're not your physical body, you're a spiritual being. While you're growing up, it's going to be hard to not think of yourself, but your challenge is to be kind to other people. Think of other people more than you think of yourself. If children were taught this from a very young age, by the time we're adults, we'd all be so wonderful. This whole world would start to change. So it's actually not hard to change the world. It's with this thought about, it's awaken means awakening the people up in the world to this truth. The spirit world exists, we're spiritual beings, this world's a training ground for our soul, and really the mission of our soul is to get rid of the ego and practice love that gives and enjoy our time together. Yeah. So that's really pretty much the essence of my talk today. So I'd like to ask if anybody has a question. Really? Yes. 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 Okay, good point. That's why there's love and wisdom. Okay. Like if I'm in the supermarket and I'm going through, I see you've got some kids there, but imagine parents going through the supermarket with their kids and they always put the sweets right at the kids' height, right? Yeah. And they pick up the lollipop. Mummy, can I have this? And the heart of love says, oh, I want to make you happy. Of course you can have it, But we know it's not good for them. So wisdom says, no, sorry, you cannot have it. And so true love requires wisdom, yeah. And like being in an abusive relationship, sometimes someone might say, oh, but if I just have to give love, it means I have to put up with abuse from my husband. Actually, no, you're not benefiting them by staying with them because they might need to learn the lesson that You cannot live that way. That's the wrong way to live. As much as I love you, I cannot stay with you and let you think that's the right way of living. So it requires wisdom. Yeah. So love and wisdom together is the key. Yeah. Yeah. Does that answer? Yeah. That's yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. Yes.
So that's the cycle, and that's all very important. And if others are mirroring us, what struck me is that I am mirroring them. So I have a role in someone who's got major issues, and mirroring them. How the hard part is the victim that you have to send back to the perpetrator. So if you flip that and say, okay, my sending love to you, I'm teaching you something as well. So in that transformative dichotomy, so is that part of the listening where you've got to move from victimhood, which is part of what we're all about, and if we move away from victimhood, is that the wisdom to then send love back to the perpetrator and help them to awaken?
Sure. You know, there is.
Is that the cycle?
It is like the cycle, but ultimately there are no victims because this world's just a training ground. So if something happens, it's how I react. If I react like a victim, I feel like the victim, but that means I had an expectation for them to treat me in a certain way. See, we've got, with this, sometimes somebody might say something mean to somebody, but actually, in Happy Science, the teaching is we should listen. If somebody says something mean to me, I should listen to what they say and reflect on it. That's why the self-reflection is in here. And think about if it's true or not. Because somebody might say something, it could be a great awakening. They could be being a mirror for me to teach me something that I may have not spent my whole life and never discovered. And since it's all about trying to develop myself and improve myself, if somebody said something that seemed mean, if I reflect on it and it's true, I should say, oh my gosh, and I should say, thank you very much. You've pointed something about me that I never realized. I'm going to try and change that. Thank you very much. Suddenly the relationship between me and that person is really good because they can't believe that I've actually taken what they've said on board and going to use it. Now, on the other hand, if I reflect deeply and what they've said isn't true, it might be they're just angry or they're just getting something out or their perception of me is wrong. I should listen to it, and if it's really not true, there's 3 ways of really writing things. You know, we can etch it in stone, and then it's there for our life. And somebody said something to me when I'm 20, and 60 years later, I'm still hanging on to it, and I'm still bitter with that person for something they said 60 years ago. So that's when people etch things in stone into their heart. The second way of writing things would be like in sand, where you write it in the sand, and maybe it's there for a week, and then eventually the wind and the water and blows it, and it's all gone. And the third way of writing things is writing it in water. So we see it, and it's there, and then it's gone. So really the ideal way is to like write it in water, but we reflect on it, and if it's not true, we let it go. If it is true, we're grateful to them that they've pointed something out to me. But ultimately, we're only a victim if we feel like a victim. So if I feel somebody says something that's hurt me, I can reflect and I can decide if it's true or not. And as I just said, we've got the 2 ways. We can either use it to improve ourselves, or we can let it go and realize maybe we try and explain to them some misunderstanding that there was. But yeah, we are all soulmates. We're all in this together. So like awaken, I was thinking the word awaken, I noticed they spelt it differently, right? Awaken, K-I-N. And kin is like kinship. It's like family. We are all family. Like you imagine, there's a great tree, the tree of life. We call it Alcantarius, the tree of life. And the tree of life has all these, it's got a great big thick trunk, and it's got the branches, and then the branches go out to smaller branches, and the branches have the leaves, and there's so many leaves off each branch. So a family unit is like one branch with all the leaves coming off that one branch. So you're close together, and when you're born, you choose to be born together. But in the whole world, everybody is actually connected to the same tree. Some might, the branches can be a long way away, and big differences, but we're all connected to the same tree. When, as a humankind, we can realize that we are all connected, we are all one. We all have the opportunity to work together, to develop ourselves together. And the ultimate thing is to feel love for each other. Like Robinson Crusoe living on an island all alone. What a lonely existence. He's got nobody he can love. I spent a time in Australia after I found these teachings when I decided that I wanted to. I was working for a while, I got really busy, and my boss was talking about crushing the opposition. And I thought, it's not about crushing the opposition, it's about working and trying to do the best job you can. Anyway, it became not spiritual enough for me, so I left my job and I bought a van, and I was going to travel around Australia. And I only got as far as Gympie, and it got too hot, so I went back down to New South Wales, and I lived in the bush for a while. For about a year, I lived in the forest. And each day I was just doing meditation and playing my flute and reading these teachings. But you know what, after a while, after about a year, I realized it's all wonderful living like this, but I lacked community. And I realized communities, we need each other. Like we survive because of our community. I see you're holding a cup with coffee, you know. Somebody built the cup, somebody made the coffee. I mean, the clothes we wear, somebody made the clothes. Everything we've got is being created within our communities. So I felt like I was escaping, pardon me. Like every 2 weeks I'd have to go to the shops to get my milk and get my supplies, and I'd head back to the bush again. And so I felt like this is not real, because I'm living a little bit of a fantasy, because every 2 weeks I've got to go back into the society to get what I need. So ultimately, we all need to find our place within the society to help to create the most ideal society we can. But to answer that question, there is a place where we can find in our heart where there are no victims. Only a victim is a victim if they feel like a victim, because of their way of thinking. But if we don't take anything on board, if we're always willing to look for the truth, if it's true, it's true. If it's not, it's not. You know, if it's true, I'm grateful that somebody said something about me or done something that's shown me something. If it's not true, I've just got to let it go and not live like a victim. The other thing I'll say about that, there's such a thing as karma. So, as I said, we live life and then we go back to the spirit world for 400 or 500 years, then we come back again and we live again. Well, during this time, we do things sometimes, you know, especially when we haven't awakened, to hurt other people or cause some problems. Or sometimes there's been wars, right? And people go to war and they kill each other. All sorts of things can happen. So because of the law of cause and effect, every action has a reaction. So things that I do now can come back to me in the future. So maybe in my past life, I marry a lady and everything's good, and then I decide to leave her and go to another lady, and she was so hurt, and there was no reason for it, just because of my ego, and I decided I wanted a younger, more beautiful woman or something, so I hurt somebody's heart so badly. So maybe in my next life, when I come here, she has the opportunity to do the same thing to me. Now, I might feel a victim, that I treated her so well and then she left me. I feel such a victim. But if I look back to a previous life, it's possible that I did something in my past life that's now just coming back to me. So I'm not really a victim so much as actually I'm reaping my karma. So if we can see life from this perspective, there are no victims anymore. Everything is just a play out of karma, which is cause and effect unfolding, and always with the purpose to develop myself, always with the purpose to create a mind full of love and ultimately become a person. You know, it's like this. Imagine a garden hose. You plug into the hose, into the tap on your wall, and you turn on the tap, and the water just comes out the garden hose and you water the garden. Now, the hose, its mission was to give water to the garden. Now, if the hose felt that the garden wasn't treating it kindly enough or appreciating it enough, it says, you don't deserve the water I'm giving you, which it actually received the water for free. It wasn't the hose's water in the first place. And so it kinks the hose because you don't deserve this water. You're not appreciating me enough. Now, the hose feels stressed. It just doesn't feel right. It's anxious. And that's like a human can feel anxious because it stopped performing its true role, which was to give water to the garden. As humans, our role is to give love to the people around us. So if we ever start to not give that love, we start to feel something's wrong. I don't feel happy. So ultimately, then we release that and we allow the love, or like the garden hose, to allow the water. But our goal in life is to try to enlarge our capacity to love. So the great angels, the great beings, they are beings that have learned to be able to give such huge amounts of love to this world that it affects the lives of many people. So whether we are a hose or a great, huge canal that can bring a lot of love, we should just enjoy what we have and always aim to increase our capacity. So we want to aim our capacity through love and wisdom to be able to bring the happiness to more and more people, and hopefully even one day affect the world. Yeah. And then when we return to the other world, if we can reflect, we saw the people reflecting on their lives, if we can reflect on our life and see how much happiness, see how many people we brought to, our mind will just be full of happiness that we live that way. If we lived a life believing that, oh no, this world's all there is, I'm just going to get out of it as much as I can, naturally when we reflect on our life from that other world, we go, oh my gosh, I lived such a false life. How did I live like that? Why did I do that? And everybody has the opportunity to wake up. There's many times in people's lives, there's something comes to them, there's an opportunity to wake up. And in this world, too many people, it's a scientific world. I only believe what I can see. It can't be proven, so it can't be true. But, believing in the spirit world is a little bit like once they believed the earth was flat, but somebody was courageous enough to head off on a boat and go all the way around and end up they did a full circle. And for them, they knew 100% the earth was round. Now, not everybody in the world could be on that boat, right? But because they came around and they told people of their own experience, the people who believed them, now the world's round. Same for faith in the spirit world. Not everybody can have the experience of seeing the spirit world, but because Master Okawa could do it and explain exactly what's happened, for the people who can believe what he says, the truth becomes that there's another world. There really is a spirit world. There really is a place that we go after this. So that's what faith is all about. So faith makes a big difference. I know faith is talked about in many religions, but ultimately faith comes down to believing in what we can't see, believing in the truth that there really is another world. Yeah. And with that belief, I believe everybody here, I believe everybody here probably believes that. That's why we're at Awaken. We in Happy Science, we go out on the streets of Sydney to business people trying to spread this truth. It's not easy to spread a truth that people don't believe, but we believe it's really important to change the world. To change the world is a foundation of a way of thinking. The way of thinking needs to be what we've talked about today, the truth about the other world, the truth of the soul, the truth of the meaning of our lives. So we make a lot of effort, and it's a practice of also being egoless. When you're on the streets and you're handing stuff out and sometimes people are a bit rude or whatever, the practice of it's never ending, this practice of giving love without taking love. If I hand a flyer to someone and say, oh, thank you very much. Oh, it's easy to love that person, right? But if I hand a flyer to someone and say, don't need that rubbish, can I feel the same about that person as the other person who so gratefully accepted and said, thank you very much? Yeah, and this is the challenge, is to always be feeling the same love for people, no matter what the condition. Yeah, that's it. Is my time about up? Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
We just want to change people's life. As you change each individual person's life to a spiritual perspective, of course many of the people that come here already have a spiritual perspective, but we want to give them the tools to be able to help spread that spiritual perspective, because sometimes people know stuff but they don't know how to explain it to other people. Really, to change the world, like I said, we want to change from a materialistic view to a spiritual view. So here people can get information that they can learn and then spread to change the world.